Welcome back. We're tracking the breaking news coming into the studios that former Vice President Joe Biden, the putative presidential candidate for the Democrat Party, has asked Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar to undergo vetting to be his potential running mate as vice president.
Has it influenced your thought process relative to the discussion or debate about hydroxychloroquine?
I think that I listened to the science there. I believe he did briefly take that drug. I have to check with his doctor because, of course, I wasn't there.
Senator Amy Klobuchar, long seen as a possible running mate for former Vice President Joe Biden, is reportedly getting official consideration for the job. That's according to a tweet Thursday from a CBS News campaign reporter who said Klobuchar has been asked by Joe Biden to undergo vetting to be considered for his VP. The report was attributed to a senior Biden aide. A Biden campaign spokeswoman declined to confirm or comment on the report. A spokesman for Klobuchar did not respond to a request for comment. Biden previously said publicly that he would be considering Klobuchar, his former Democratic rival for the nomination, for the vice presidential slot. And numerous Democratic sources have previously told the Star Tribune and other media outlets that Klobuchar is viewed as a top prospect inside the Biden camp.
Has it influenced your thought process relative to the discussion or debate about hydroxychloroquine?
I think that I listened to the science there. I believe he did briefly take that drug. I have to check with his doctor because, of course, I wasn't there.
Some breaking news that Amy Klobuchar has been asked by Joe Biden to undergo vetting to be his vice presidential running mate. And according to CBS News and other sources, she's not the only one on this list, but she is right now the banner headline. Everyone's talking about how Amy Klobuchar may well be becoming the frontrunner to be Biden's vice presidential running mate. And right now, I have to say that I am not at all surprised, but very disappointed to hear this news.
Has it influenced your thought process relative to the discussion or debate about hydroxychloroquine?
I think that I listened to the science there. I believe he did briefly take that drug. I have to check with his doctor because, of course, I wasn't there.
So Amy Klobuchar telegraphed early on that she was allegedly, supposedly, or maybe considered the VP running mate, the running mate for Joe Biden. Wouldn't it be amazing if that's the case? It would be amazing. It would be like it would just be perfect, a perfect reason for no one to come out. I mean, Amy Klobuchar or anybody's ticket is, oh God. Oh, it's getting cool night. I'm suddenly so bored. Oh man, I just, my mate, get my pillow. I just feel like I just drank a gallon of warm milk. Amy Klobuchar is the most uninteresting candidate out of 25 people. The one that makes your post rate go down to the point where people are like, you all right? Hey, you all right? Put a mirror under his nose. Make sure he's breathing. Oh, now he's just listening to Amy Klobuchar talk. That's all. He's alive. She slows your pulse rate.
Your husband, how is John Bessler?
He is actually doing quite well. He, as you heard, got coronavirus. We don't know how. He did exactly what people should do. He quarantined himself when he thought he just had a cold. I was still in Minnesota. By the time I got back to Washington, he was much sicker. And I just kept calling in, what's your temperature? What's your temperature? And it turned out that for 10 days it was over 100 degrees. He eventually got pneumonia. He was coughing up blood. And he ended up in the hospital. And so that is, then he really took a bad turn for a few days and needed oxygen. But eventually, as you've heard with so many of these cases, just one day it started to get better. And so he's doing really well right now. He's been out of the hospital for 10 days, and we're in Minnesota, and he's in much better spirits.
What do you think you learned?
He's even teaching his classes remotely. So there you go.
What do you think you learned from his experience that you otherwise would not have known about COVID-19?
Well, I think it's what a lot of people, everyone knows someone, a friend or family now. When they're in the hospital, you can't visit them. You can't be by their bedside. You can't hold their hand. And we've even had so many tragic cases where people have died alone. You can't even hug the nurses and the doctors and thank them for what they've done for your loved one, because you can only talk to them over the phone. And it's one of the hardest things of many of this disease.
Has it influenced your thought process relative to the discussion or debate about hydroxychloroquine?
I think that I listened to the science there. I believe he did briefly take that drug. I have to check with his doctor because, of course, I wasn't there. But I think that, or some drug like it. But I think that we have to listen to the science, and you have to listen to your doctors of what is going to work in each individual situation. Sometimes you might have other conditions that make it so you can't take certain drugs. Sometimes your own condition with the virus wouldn't demand that. And so I think people have to look at what works.
Senator,
I just believe in science, something this president has been not listening to.